Welcome to our deep dive today, and we're going to be exploring chia seeds, something that's ancient and trendy all at the same time.
That's right.
We've got some really interesting articles here that we dug up, and I'm excited to unpack all this with you.
Yeah.
I have to confess, my first encounter with chia was those terracotta chia pets, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But little did I know there's this whole fascinating story behind these tiny seeds.
It is a fascinating story. It stretches back thousands of years to the heart of Mesoamerica.
Wow.
We're talking 3,500 BCE, older than the pyramids.
Wow.
And chia was a cornerstone crop for civilizations like the Mayans and the Aztecs, right alongside staples like maize and beans.
Wow. So it's been a part of human history for quite a while, but what made chia stand out?
Right.
Why was it so valued in these ancient cultures?
Well, the word chia itself offers a clue. It comes from the Mayan word for strength.
Okay.
Which kind of hints at how these ancient cultures perceived it.
Yeah.
They recognized its nutritional power, of course, but there's evidence that it was more than just a food source.
Okay. I'm intrigued more than just food. What else was chia used for?
Imagine paying your taxes in seeds.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened in the Aztec Empire. Chia was a form of currency. Conquered nations would pay tribute with chia, reflecting its high value.
Wow, paying taxes in chia seeds. That's a new one. So we've got this ancient superfood used as currency. What else?
It was also woven into their spiritual practices.
Okay.
Chia seeds were offered to deities, incorporated into religious ceremonies. They held a sacred place in these societies.
That's really interesting. So not just a food source or a currency, but something with a deep spiritual connection as well.
Exactly. And that connection is actually what led to chia's near disappearance for centuries. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived, they saw this spiritual significance as a threat and actively suppressed chia cultivation.
So because chia was so intertwined with indigenous beliefs, the Spanish tried to eliminate it as part of their efforts to convert people to Christianity. It's a tragic reminder of how colonization can impact even something as seemingly simple as a seed.
It is, but thankfully, some indigenous communities managed to keep the tradition alive in certain regions,
Oh, good.
paving the way for chia's revival in modern times. It's a comeback story worthy of a deep dive all its own.
It really is.
Huh.
But before we get into that modern-day comeback, I'm curious about all those stories about Aztec warriors carrying chia into battle. Was there any truth to that?
Absolutely. Aztec warriors would carry pouches of chia seeds for sustenance during long journeys and battles.
Okay.
It was said that a single tablespoon could sustain a warrior for an entire day.
Wow.
Now, while modern science might not endorse the 1 tablespoon for a day claim, it does confirm that chia is incredibly nutrient-dense.
Okay, so maybe not a full day's worth of food, but still pretty incredible for a tiny seed. But was it just about calories, or were there other properties of chia that made it so valuable for warriors?
That's a great question, and it's where modern science starts to back up ancient wisdom.
Okay.
Chia is packed with omega-3 fatty acids,
Uh-huh.
even more than salmon gram for gram.
Wait, really? More omega-3s than salmon. That's impressive.
And it's not just omega-3s. Chia is also a fantastic source of fiber protein, and it's a complete protein source, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids. That's pretty rare for a plant-based food.
So it's a powerhouse of nutrients. No wonder they called it strength. But beyond just the quantity of nutrients, how did these specific components benefit those warriors?
Well, the high fiber content, combined with chia's unique ability to absorb up to 12 times its weight in water, would have created a feeling of fullness and sustained energy release.
Okay.
This means stable blood sugar levels, which would be crucial for endurance and mental focus during long marches or battles.
So it wasn't just about filling their stomachs. It was about providing sustained energy and mental clarity, exactly what a warrior needs. And to think this tiny seed was helping them achieve that thousands of years ago.
It's remarkable how much ancient civilizations understood about the power of food.
Yeah.
And speaking of power, another key component of chia is calcium. It actually contains 5 times more calcium than milk.
Wow, that is surprising. So much packed into such a small package. But with all these amazing benefits, there has to be a catch, right?
You're right. It's important to be aware of potential downsides as well. One thing to consider is that while rare chia seed allergies are becoming more recognized,
I wouldn't have even thought about chia seed allergies. What should people be aware of?
well, anyone with a sesame or nut allergy should be extra careful because of something called cross-reactivity.
Okay,
This means their immune system might react to similar proteins found in chia.
got it.
So it's always best to start with a small amount and watch for any unusual symptoms.
That's a good point. It's easy to assume something as natural as chia is safe for everyone, but allergies are definitely something to be aware of.
Oh.
Are there any other potential downsides?
Another thing to keep in mind is that since chia seeds are so high in fiber, introducing them too quickly can lead to digestive discomfort. Some people experience bloating or gas if they overdo it.
So start slow and let your body adjust. Makes sense.
Exactly. Listen to your body and be sure to drink plenty of water. Remember, those seeds are absorbing a lot of liquid.
Okay, good advice. But let's get back to the amazing things about chia. You mentioned its unique ability to absorb water and form this gel. What's the science behind that, and how does it contribute to those benefits we talked about?
That's one of the most fascinating things about chia seeds.
Yeah.
They contain a type of soluble fiber that forms a gel-like substance when it comes into contact with water. This gel not only makes for interesting culinary applications, think chia pudding,
Right.
but also contributes to that feeling of fullness and helps regulate blood sugar levels.
So it's like a natural time-release mechanism for those nutrients. No wonder those Aztec warriors could go all day on a handful of these seeds.
Well, maybe not a whole day.
Maybe not the whole day.
Yeah, it definitely contributed to their endurance. And speaking of history, there's another aspect of chia's story that's worth exploring. We mentioned the Spanish suppression of chia cultivation.
Right.
But what were some of the specific challenges faced by Mexican farmers trying to preserve this tradition?
That's a part of the story I'd love to hear more about.
Well, imagine being told to abandon a crop that's been a part of your culture for generations. Not only were the Spanish actively discouraging chia cultivation, but they were also introducing new crops like wheat and barley, pushing for a shift towards European agricultural practices.
So it wasn't just about replacing one seed with another. It was about imposing an entirely different way of farming on indigenous communities. That must have been incredibly disruptive.
It was. Traditional land management techniques were disrupted, and indigenous communities lost access to their ancestral farming lands.
Right.
This made it even harder to maintain their agricultural practices and keep chia cultivation alive.
It's a stark reminder of how colonization impacted not just political systems and economies, but also the very fabric of people's relationship with their land and their food.
It's a painful legacy, but it also speaks to the incredible resilience of these communities who, against all odds, found ways to resist and adapt. They held on to their traditions and kept the knowledge of their ancestral foods alive, even when it was dangerous to do so.
Their determination is inspiring. It adds a whole new dimension to chia's modern-day comeback. It's not just a trendy superfood. It's a symbol of cultural resilience and a testament to the power of preserving traditional knowledge.
It really is, and that's just the beginning of chia's fascinating journey.
I can't wait to hear more, but we'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into chia's modern-day resurgence and explore its amazing versatility in the kitchen and beyond.
You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of chia seeds. We left off talking about the incredible resilience of those Mexican farmers who kept the chia tradition alive, even in the face of so much adversity. It's a powerful reminder of how food can be a symbol of cultural identity and resistance.
It really is, and it makes chia's modern-day resurgence even more remarkable.
Good for you.
And you know what's fascinating is that chia's comeback didn't start in the health food aisle, as you might expect.
Really? I was picturing those trendy chia pudding bowls and smoothies as the catalyst. Where did it begin then?
Believe it or not, chia's first foray back into popular culture was as a novelty item, those terracotta figurines that sprouted chia seedlings to resemble fur or hair. Remember those?
Chia pets. Oh my gosh. Of
Oh.
course, I completely forgot about those. They were everywhere when I was a kid.
Exactly. Chia pets were a massive fad, and they inadvertently introduced millions of people to chia seeds, even if it wasn't focused on their nutritional value.
It's funny how something as kitschy as a chia pet could pave the way for chia's superfood stardom.
Yeah.
It's a true comeback story, from ancient currency to forgotten relic to novelty item to health food hero.
It just goes to show that sometimes the most unexpected paths can lead to rediscovering something truly valuable.
So from chia pets to superfood status, how did that transition happen? What sparked the renewed interest in chia's nutritional benefits?
Well, as the health and wellness movement gained momentum, people started looking for natural, nutrient-rich foods, and chia fit the bill perfectly. Remember all those amazing benefits we talked about, the omega-3s, the fiber, the protein, the calcium.
Right, chia is like a tiny nutritional powerhouse.
Exactly, and with growing awareness of gluten sensitivities, chia's naturally gluten-free nature made it even more appealing. It really ticked all the boxes for the health-conscious consumer.
So chia was rediscovered at the perfect time. It aligned perfectly with changing dietary needs and preferences. It's like it was waiting in the wings for its moment to shine.
It really was, and as research continued to confirm its health benefits, Chia's popularity soared suddenly. It was everywhere in smoothies, puddings, baked goods, granola bars, you name it.
I can definitely see why.
Yeah.
But let's talk about how chia is cultivated today. Where are all these seeds coming from?
Well, chia has gone global, while Mexico and Guatemala remain important growing regions. It's now commercially cultivated in countries like Bolivia, Argentina, Ecuador, Australia, and even the United States.
Wow, from the ancient fields of Mesoamerica to farms around the world.
Yeah.
What's driving this widespread cultivation? Is it just the demand for the seeds?
The demand is certainly a major factor, but it goes beyond that. Remember, we discussed chia's unique properties, its drought tolerance and adaptability to different soil types. Those qualities make it a very attractive crop for farmers in various regions, especially those facing water scarcity or challenging growing conditions.
That makes sense. So not only is chia a nutritional powerhouse, but it's also a sustainable crop that can thrive in different environments.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that makes chia so exciting. It has the potential to be part of a more sustainable and resilient food system. But let's go back to those ancient fields for a moment. We talked about how the Spanish colonizers suppressed chia cultivation and imposed their own agricultural practices. What exactly happened to indigenous farming systems during that period?
That's a part of the story I'm really interested in understanding better.
Well, imagine a system of agriculture that's been developed over centuries based on a deep understanding of the land and its rhythms suddenly disrupted by a completely different approach. That's essentially what happened when the Spanish arrived.
So it wasn't just about introducing new crops, it was about imposing a whole new way of thinking about farming.
Exactly. The Spanish brought with them the concept of large-scale plantation agriculture, which prioritized crops like sugarcane and wheat for export back to Europe. This often involved clearing vast tracts of land, disrupting the delicate balance of existing ecosystems.
So not only were indigenous communities being pushed away from cultivating their traditional crops like chia, but the very landscape was being transformed in ways that were often harmful.
That's right, and this had a devastating impact on biodiversity, soil health, and water resources. It was a shift away from the sustainable practices that had sustained indigenous communities for centuries.
It's a tragic reminder of how colonization can have far-reaching consequences, not just for people, but for the environment as well.
It is, and it's a reminder of the importance of learning from indigenous knowledge and practices, which often prioritize sustainability and harmony with nature. But let's shift our focus back to the seed itself. We've talked about chia's nutritional benefits, but what exactly makes it so unique in terms of its composition?
That's a great question. We've touched on some of the key nutrients, but I'd love to get a more detailed breakdown of what's inside these tiny seeds.
Well, let's start with protein. Chia seeds are a complete protein source, meaning they contain all 9 essential amino acids that our bodies need but can't produce on their own. This is quite rare for a plant-based food, making chia a valuable source of protein for vegetarians, vegans, and anyone looking to diversify their protein intake.
That's incredible. So much protein packed into such a small package. And you mentioned that chia protein is highly digestible. What does that mean exactly?
It means that our bodies can easily break down and absorb the amino acids from chia seeds. This is important because it ensures that we're actually getting the full benefit of the protein. Some plant-based proteins can be harder to digest, but chia protein is readily available for our bodies to use.
So chia protein is not only complete, but also efficient. What about fiber? We know it's high in fiber, but what kind of fiber are we talking about and how does it benefit us?
Chia seeds are particularly rich in soluble fiber, which, as we discussed earlier, forms a gel-like substance when it comes into contact with water. This gel has a number of benefits, including slowing down digestion, which can aid in blood sugar control and keep you feeling fuller for longer.
So that gel-forming property is key to those sustained energy benefits we keep talking about. It's like a natural time-release mechanism for those nutrients.
Exactly. It helps prevent those spikes and crashes in blood sugar that can leave you feeling tired and sluggish. And the soluble fiber in chia can also help lower cholesterol levels, promoting heart health.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling full and energized, it's about supporting long-term health as well.
And speaking of long-term health, we can't forget about those omega-3 fatty acids. Chia seeds are an excellent plant-based source of omega-3s, which are essential for brain health, heart health, reducing inflammation. The list goes on and on.
We talk about how chia has even more omega-3s than salmon gram for gram, which is pretty remarkable for a plant-based food. But how do those omega-3s actually work in our bodies?
Well, omega-3 fatty acids are a type of polyunsaturated fat that our bodies need for a variety of functions, but they can't produce them on their own. They play a crucial role in building cell membranes, regulating blood clotting, and reducing inflammation throughout the body. They're essential for brain development and function, and they've been linked to a lower risk of heart disease and stroke.
So they're not just good for us. They're essential for so many vital processes in our bodies. And chia seeds provide a convenient and delicious way to get those omega-3s. What about other vitamins and minerals?
Well, in addition to being an excellent source of protein, fiber, and omega-3s, chia seeds are also packed with essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. These minerals play a vital role in bone health, muscle function, nerve function, and maintaining a healthy balance of fluids in the body.
It's amazing how much nutritional value is crammed into these tiny seeds. No wonder ancient civilizations prized them so highly.
It really is. And what's even more impressive is that all these nutrients come in a naturally gluten-free package, making chia a fantastic option for those with celiac disease or gluten sensitivities.
It's like chia seeds were designed for the modern age, but we've been focusing on the positives. Are there any aspects of chia's nutritional profile that we should be mindful of?
You're right. It's important to be balanced. While chia seeds are generally very well tolerated, some people experience digestive discomfort if they introduce them too quickly into their diet.
Right, because of that high fiber content. It's important to start slow and let your body adjust, and always drink plenty of water, especially when eating chia seeds in their dry form.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right balance and listening to your body. But beyond that, chia seeds are a remarkable source of nutrition, offering a wide array of benefits in a convenient and versatile package.
Speaking of versatility, are there any other lesser-known facts about chia that might surprise our listeners?
Absolutely. Chia seeds have a way of surprising even the most knowledgeable folks. For instance, did you know that the entire chia plant is edible, not just the seeds?
Really? I always thought it was just about those tiny black and white seeds.
Well, those are definitely the most well-known part. But the leaves and flowers are edible too. Young chia leaves are particularly tasty and can be enjoyed as microgreens, while mature leaves can be used for tea.
That's fascinating. It seems like every part of the chia plant has something to offer. Are there any other surprises in store for us?
How about this? The gel that forms when you soak chia seeds can be used as a vegan egg replacement in baking.
No way. That's amazing. I've heard of using flax seeds for that purpose, but I never knew you could do it with chia seeds.
It's true. It's a great option for those following a vegan diet or looking for plant-based alternatives in their baking.
That opens up a whole world of possibilities. And speaking of possibilities, I've heard that chia oil is making a comeback in the beauty industry. Is that true?
You heard right. It seems we're rediscovering the wisdom of our ancestors. Chia oil is a great source of antioxidants and can be used to moisturize and nourish the skin. It's even being incorporated into hair care products.
It's amazing how chia has come full circle, from ancient beauty rituals to modern cosmetics. This tiny seed truly has a long and fascinating history.
It does. It's gone from ancient currency to forgotten relic to novelty item to superfood to beauty product, and it's a seed for all seasons.
Well, I think we've officially cracked the code of chia seeds. We've covered its ancient origins, its remarkable nutritional profile, its fascinating journey through history, and its diverse applications both in the kitchen and beyond. What are some key takeaways you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think one of the most important takeaways is that chia seeds are more than just a trendy superfood. They represent a connection to ancient wisdom and traditions that have sustained people for thousands of years.
That's such a powerful point. It's easy to get caught up in the hype of the latest health food craze. But with chia, there's a real depth and history that goes far beyond fleeting trends.
Exactly. And I think another important takeaway is that Chia's story is about more than just nutrition. It's about resilience, cultural heritage, and the importance of preserving traditional knowledge even in the face of adversity.
It's a reminder that food is not just about sustenance. It's about connection identity and the stories we carry within us.
Beautifully said. And finally, I think it's worth emphasizing that chia seeds offer a fantastic opportunity to bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and modern nutritional needs.
What do you mean by that?
Well, so much of what we're learning about the health benefits of chia seeds, its fiber content, its omega-3s, its ability to regulate blood sugar, these are all things that ancient civilizations intuitively understood.
So by embracing these traditional foods, we're not just tapping into a source of good nutrition, but also connecting with a deeper understanding of how to live in harmony with nature and our bodies.
Precisely. Chia seeds are a powerful example of how we can learn from the past to create a healthier and more sustainable future.
I love that it's a reminder that sometimes the answers we're seeking are right there in front of us, hidden in plain sight in the foods that have sustained humanity for generations.
That's what makes this deep dive into the world of chia seeds so rewarding. It's not just about learning facts, it's about rediscovering a connection to something much bigger than ourselves.
Okay. I think we've officially reached peak chia enlightenment. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Oh, I like where this is going. What's a challenge?
I challenge each of you to go beyond the basic chia pudding bowl experiment with some of the creative recipes and applications we've talked about. Get those chia seeds into your smoothies, your baked goods, even your savory dishes.
I love it. Let's get those creative culinary juices flowing.
And most importantly, as you're enjoying your chia creations, take a moment to appreciate the long and winding journey these tiny seeds have taken to reach your plate.
Well said. There's a whole world of history, nutrition, and cultural significance packed into each bite.
And on that note, we'll leave you to your chia adventures. But be sure to join us for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll be exploring some practical considerations for incorporating chia seeds into your diet, including potential downsides and addressing common questions about safety and consumption.
We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to the final part of our chia seed deep dive. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. We've covered a lot of ground, from ancient history and cultural significance to modern-day nutrition and culinary uses.
We've seen how this tiny seed has played such a significant role in human history, and how it's making this remarkable comeback in the modern world. But before we wrap up our exploration of chia, I think it's important to address some practical considerations and potential downsides, even with a superfood as seemingly perfect as chia.
You're absolutely right. As with any food, there are things to be mindful of when incorporating chia seeds into your diet, especially if you're new to them.
So let's get real for a moment. What are some things our listeners should be aware of?
Well, we touched on this in the previous parts, but it's worth reiterating. Chia seeds are very high in fiber.
Right.
While this is generally a good thing, it can lead to digestive issues if you're not careful, especially if you introduce them too quickly.
Right. Some people experience bloating, gas, or even constipation if they overdo it on chia seeds.
Exactly. So start with small amounts and gradually increase your intake as your body adjusts. It's all about finding the right balance and listening to your body.
And as we mentioned before, make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day, especially when you're eating chia seeds. They absorb so much liquid, so it's important to replenish those fluids.
Absolutely. Staying hydrated is key to preventing any digestive discomfort. Another thing to be aware of is that chia seeds can interact with certain medications.
That's interesting. What kind of medications are we talking about?
It's not super common, but chia seeds can potentially affect the absorption of medications like blood thinners or blood pressure medications. So if you're taking any medications, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor before adding chia seeds to your diet, just to be on the safe side.
That's a good reminder. It's always best to err on the side of caution and consult with your healthcare provider if you have any concerns.
Absolutely. And speaking of caution, there's one more thing I think is worth mentioning. Chia seeds, because of their small size and their tendency to clump together, can be a choking hazard for young children.
Oh, that's an important point. I hadn't thought about that.
It's best to avoid giving whole chia seeds to children under the age of 5. There are plenty of other ways to incorporate chia into a child's diet, like blending them into smoothies or using them in baked goods where they're not a choking hazard.
That makes sense. It's always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to kids and food. So we've covered some important precautions, fiber intake, medication interactions, and potential choking hazards for young children. Are there any other common questions or concerns about chia seeds that you'd like to address?
There are a few. One question we often get is whether black or white chia seeds are better.
The age-old chia debate. I've always wondered about that myself.
The good news is there's no significant difference in terms of nutrition. Both black and white chia seeds offer the same amazing health benefits.
So it really comes down to personal preference. Whichever color you prefer, you're still getting all those incredible nutrients.
Exactly. It's all about what appeals to you visually. Another common question is how to store chia seeds properly.
That's a good one. Proper storage is important for maintaining freshness and preserving those nutritional benefits.
Absolutely. The best way to store chia seeds is in an airtight container in a cool, dark place, like a pantry or a cupboard. You can even store them in the fridge, but the key is to avoid exposing them to heat or moisture.
So basically treat them like you would any other seeds or nuts. Simple enough.
Exactly. And speaking of simple, let's talk about preparation. Chia seeds are incredibly versatile and easy to incorporate into your diet.
That's one of the things I love about them. They're so easy to use.
One of the most popular ways to enjoy chia seeds is by making chia pudding. You simply soak the seeds in your choice of milk or water, Add your favorite flavors and let it sit in the fridge for a few hours or overnight.
Chia pudding is definitely a favorite in my house.
Yeah.
We love experimenting with different flavors. Chocolate chia pudding, peanut butter and jelly chia pudding, even tropical chia pudding with coconut milk and mango.
The possibilities are endless. You can get really creative with different fruits, nuts, sweeteners, and spices. And chia seeds are also a fantastic addition to smoothies, yogurt, oatmeal, and even baked goods.
They add a nice texture and a nutritional boost to so many dishes. And don't forget about that chia gel. It's a fantastic vegan egg replacement and a great way to thicken sauces and jams.
It's true. Chia seeds are like a culinary chameleon. They can adapt to so many different applications.
Well, I think we've officially covered all the bases we've explored: the history, the nutrition, the potential downsides, and the endless culinary possibilities of chia seeds. What a journey it's been.
It really has been a fascinating deep dive, and I hope our listeners have come away with a deeper appreciation for this tiny seed that has so much to offer.
Me too. It's amazing how something so small can be so packed with history, nutrition, and cultural significance.
It's a reminder that the most unassuming things can hold incredible power and potential.
That's a beautiful thought. And as we wrap up our chia seed exploration, I want to leave our listeners with one final challenge.
I'm always up for a challenge. What do you have in mind?
I challenge you to go beyond the familiar and explore the full potential of chia seeds. Don't be afraid to experiment, to get creative in the kitchen, and to embrace the versatility of this incredible superfood.
I love it. Let's get those chia seeds out of the pantry and into our lives in new and exciting ways.
And as you're enjoying your chia creations, take a moment to reflect on the long and winding journey these tiny seeds have taken to reach your plate.
Think about the ancient civilizations who revered them, the farmers who preserved them, and the scientists who continue to unlock their secrets.
It's a reminder that food connects us to something much bigger than ourselves, to history, to culture, to nature, and to the generations who came before us.
Food is a powerful force, and chia seeds are a beautiful example of that.
Well said. And on that note, we'll bid you farewell, dear listeners. We hope you've enjoyed our deep dive into the world of chia seeds.
Happy chiaing.
Happy chiaing.